Very excited to have with us Blake Schinto and Kathleen Noel with Progressive Title. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you for having us.
What are a couple of things you can tell the agents to help with a smoother transaction when it goes to title insurance?
That's a great question. So number one piece of advice, get us involved early. Let us help you. So let us know about your listing coming up. We can search the title, see who's on title, identify liens. The more of the stuff we do up front, the better chance you have it being smooth transaction once you're in escrow, avoiding those last minute surprises.
And I'd also like to add, if it isn't a trust, that we get those trust documents in early, so we can really make sure if there's been somebody that's passed, who the successor trustees are, who's authorized to sell the property. And one other thing is the statement of information. The sooner we can get that in to make sure the liens or encumbrances on the property are to the proper person, and we can clear any erroneous liens.
So get the seller involved early, get that information sheet back as soon as possible.
Absolutely.
Communication and proactive, that would be.
Setting expectations.
We are your partners, so we want to make sure it goes smoothly all the way along as soon as possible.
And what are some of the challenges you're faced in this current market?
So one of the biggest things we're seeing right now in terms of claims is parking on condos. And so it's been a problematic situation in the past. But oftentimes with condos, people trade spaces. This one's closer to mine, that one's closer to yours. My SUV doesn't fit here, let me park here. And people do off-market transfers. So when it comes to title, our job is to verify the actual recorded chain of title, and it doesn't always match up. And so we've run into some issues with that. Again, not new, but we're seeing more issues with the actual insurability of the property and trying to verify that parking on the property as well. And so again, best thing to do on that, come see us early. If you're selling a condo, let us take a look at the deed. We can look at the legal description, see what parking spaces show in the legal, and go from there.
And just to protect everybody, we're probably going to ask the seller to identify those parking spots and the buyers to verify those parking spots, so everybody has a clear understanding of what they're getting in their transaction, especially if it is part of their legal description.
If there's a discrepancy.
Do you insure the parking spaces in a condo complex?
It depends. So it's a great question. So we're insuring, if it's part of the legal description, it will show on our title policy and on the deed. We don't insure the possessory interest, meaning who's typically currently using the property, or using that parking. But we are still insuring it. And if there is that discrepancy from the first sale out, going back to when the developer first created it and they first deeded out that parking up till now, that's when then we're going to get the seller involved to help verify who's using the parking, as Kathleen mentioned.
Occasionally, we get clients that say, this title fee is so expensive. Why do I need title insurance? Why do you need title insurance?
Well, title insurance is going to insure you for all past encumbrances or liens. So when we clear title, we're making sure that nothing's going to pop up after your buyer takes ownership. What else would you like to add?
I'd say, when you're buying a property, whether it's an income property, the house you're going to live in, a property for your children, it's probably one of the biggest investments you're going to make in your life. You want to know that you're the owner. We're going to verify the ownership on there. We're going to clean up any potential loans and liens. We're going to identify encumbrances, which is a real estate school world that we learned back in the day. Easements, CC&Rs, agreements. You want to know what you're getting and know you've got that peace of mind that you are the owner. And that's what we're here to do. And so it's a kind of a two-pronged thing. Number one, we're going to clear it up and help transfer that title. And number two, insure it. That's where the title insurance comes into play. So you're not going to get that knock on the door in 2 years or 5 years and say, that's my property. Or you owe us $10,000 in back property taxes from 20 years ago before you owned the property. We're insuring you, because if that happens, you come to us and we help fix it.
We also are seeing a lot of fraudulent deeds, a lot of forgeries, a lot of things coming up that you're protected against. Easements, encroachments, neighbors disputing over a fence. There's a lot of things that we can make sure we clear up.
So there's two separate policies. There's a seller's policy and there's a lender's policy. Can you describe the difference between the two?
Absolutely. So here in Los Angeles County, it's negotiable who pays for what, but typically the seller pays for the owner's policy, and that protects the owner. The buyer typically pays for the lender's policy, and that protects the lender. The lender wants assurance as well. They want to make sure that the person they're giving that loan to is the owner, that their loan is in first position or second position. There's no other lien that has priority over them in case they need to foreclose. And so this insurance is very, very important. Lenders will not give out that loan typically without having that assurance as well. And you as an owner, you want that assurance as well. You pay once, you're covered the entire time you own the property. It's not like other types of insurance that you have to renew. It's a one-time fee. The entire length of ownership, you are covered.
That's great. Blake, Kathleen, thanks for being with us today. Make sure you tap into Progressive Title for your title resources. Thanks again.